You may not think that your lunch today had anything in common with a deadly chemical warfare attack. However, what most people may not know is that many of the pesticides used on our food supply fall under the same classification as chemical warfare agents such as sarin nerve gas. Approximately 20 million pounds of these pesticides are used in the United States each year, primarily in agricultural states such as Georgia. Repeated exposure to very small amounts of these chemicals have been associated with low IQ and intellectual impairments in children. One potential explanation for these learning and memory deficits is that they may stem from disruptions to the internal skeleton within neurons. You see, just like every person has a skeleton, every cell also has a skeleton. And this skeleton serves a dual purpose by providing structural support and acting as a highway to transport important cargoes throughout the cell. Brain cells are particularly vulnerable to disruptions in this transport process. This is because every time you learn something new, your brain builds a physical connection called a synapse. Much like the construction of a building, the raw materials must be transported to the correct location at the appropriate time. Imagine a construction site where none of the workers arrive at the same time and all the supplies are constantly being delivered late. Nothing would ever get done. Recent studies from our lab have shown that low-level exposure to pesticides and chemical warfare agents can produce these same types of transport disruptions in neurons. My research has identified a potential mechanism for these transport disruptions, and we've even identified a drug which can reverse these negative effects. The target I'm focused on is called GSK. Now what this does is it slows things down that are being transported. What we found is that after exposure to these chemicals, GSK is more active, meaning that it's slowing everything down. By blocking GSK, we can speed things back up. And we're able to do this using a drug that has already been FDA approved for the treatment of bipolar disorder. We hope to recycle this drug to one day treat learning and memory deficits, as well as other negative effects caused by exposure to these chemicals. Now, the use of pesticides in agriculture is a necessary evil. Without them, we wouldn't have enough food to sustain a modern society. What my research does is it allows us to develop safer guidelines for their usage and to potentially mitigate any damage that's already been done. This way, we're able to feed our families while protecting the next generation of children. Thank you.